Okay. Well, hey, Lance, I know got to talk to you the other day. Now that I guess the week has passed, and it's kind of had some time to sink in. Kind of what are your thoughts about everything that's happened?
Well, I think the initial shock is finally kind of run its course. You still wake up going, well, we got to start making plans for one competition or another, and then you hit reality real quick and go, oh, that's right, the season is over. The initial aspect of being on the track at the national championships, surrounded by the competition of those that qualified, and then all of a sudden just be told on a Thursday afternoon, pack up and leave, the season is over. That was one, initial reaction. And then the second was the reality as you're flying back to Fayetteville going, oh my gosh, we lost the indoor championship, but we also lost the entire outdoor season. So, we had our team meeting and went through the realities of, this precedent-setting historical moment. And the kids were very open and resilient about it. They were trying to figure out their plans if, the option was to go home or stay. And that seems to be ongoing. We had a young lady that was getting ready to fly to Los Angeles, and her parents called and said, hey, by the way, there's been an exposure issue. You stay here. And so that's a situation that continues to evolve on a daily basis. But I want to reiterate what Courtney said. Hunter and Dorita Ratcliffe, our SWA, they were fantastic about keeping us posted on the realities of what was occurring, and it was such a fluid situation that was changing minute by minute. I know our men's staff and ourselves almost became kind of an information center because a lot of universities were going, what's going on, what's happening, and we were kind of the informed that could pass on to many of our peers that had no clue what was happening.
Who was that who couldn't fly to L.A., if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, Katie Izzo. She has a grandmother that is in very, very poor health, and they just didn't want to take any chances. So Katie is staying here, and she's one of those unique individuals that, the season collegiately is over, but she's also an Olympic trials caliber athlete, and we have 5 of those in the distance side alone, and then we have a lot of professional athletes that are alums or are training here in Fayetteville, and they're trying to patch work together as best they can since the facilities are all locked down until April 15th.
So, like, are runners going out and running outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, they're making do with whatever is available. Even in Northwest Arkansas, it seems like a lot of the high school tracks have been closed down as well. So, it's a series of improvisation as best you possibly can.
Well, I got some more questions, but I'll let somebody else chime in if they want to.
Nate?
Yeah, Lance, just do you feel that the Olympics are even going to take place at this point?
Everything I read and the IOC continues to publish that it is on schedule. My brother is a longtime flight attendant for American Airlines and literally just flew back from Japan last night. And he said, Tokyo is talking about, hey, July 24th, the games begin. So obviously if we have an Olympics, the Olympic trials will have to be expedited to select the U.S. team. So the 5 of those distance girls, they're all training as best they possibly can. And in fact, a group of them even went up to altitude to just take that month and try to get in some altitude training.
Just how has the team reacted to the the ones not necessarily going to the Olympics, but or trials, but just your normal athletes.
Yeah, those that were the collegiate season dependent. They were pretty matter-factual about it. It was a situation where obviously they're disappointed, and they went through that stage of shock and anger and disappointment. But I think now it's a situation where they're focused on their academics, and then they're very curious about what will be the final decisions made by the NCAA to grant them an extended season for the future. But, we had to cover both seasons, the winter and the summer, and, some of our athletes that, were seniors, had to sit down and make a hard decision about, do I even attempt to think about the idea of coming back and capturing an indoor and outdoor, or do I go ahead and go to grad school or accept a job, and so on and so forth. And those have been real hard decisions and discussions with each and every individual.
Since the indoor season was almost, you're down to just one meet, do you feel that they'll give everybody eligibility for next year?
As a realist and the financial costs and so on, I would think they would just focus on the outdoor season and just kind of wipe away the conclusion of the indoor season, which is really unfortunate because I think we had a team that definitely was in the top 10, and I think could have, on a good day, been a trophy team. And then outdoors, we were loaded. I mean, we have a phenomenal outdoor track team, and obviously that is a moot point as of right now.
And also, I guess, obviously not the reason you'd expect it, but you really feel good about redshirting the people you did, considering, the circumstances. Yeah,
I think, sometimes hindsight works really, really well. I think, the planning that we had made for the indoor season to basically get ready for next year's indoor season, and especially being the host here in Fayetteville, we wanted to make a good showing. So I think right now all that, prognostication has worked to our favor. That could change if all of a sudden they grant extra years eligibility for a bunch of those senior-laden athletes that, were at other schools, and that might change the scoring a bit. But I think right now, we did well in that situation. And as somebody told me as we were getting ready to leave the track on Thursday, that means you're still the defending national champions for 2 years instead of just one.
And finally, just as far as recruiting, you are allowed to do any, right now, you're limited, not even allowed to make telephone calls, is that right? And
correct, yes. We're, basically, it's just communication via the phone, and try to keep everybody under, in good communication. And then also the transfer portal has seemed to just light up in the last few days, and we're getting a lot of inquiries from different people that are interested in transferring to Arkansas.
I think that does it for me.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Lance.
Alyssa or Tara?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, Coach, wanted to ask you about some of these athletes that are here that were training for Olympics. You have, Peyton Chadwick, and then I know that Sandy had to pack up and find somewhere else to train. How hard has it been for those athletes not having a facility to work at anymore?
Very difficult, especially with the technical events. Our sprint hurdlers and obviously our jumpers and Sandy kind of leads that charge. They can't afford to just take a month off and then expect to try to keep continuity in their training to get ready for the Olympic trials if all that stays on schedule. So right now, a lot of meet directors have been contacting us about, would you be interested in a different competition? And most of that has all been moved to the end of May. So everybody is kind of trying to forecast how this whole disease is going to run its course, and then will be fair game to host invitationals or all-comers meets or whatever to ultimately prepare for the U.S. Olympic trials in late June.
I know that everything is shut down at the university. Your athletes can't access anything, but I feel like for track, for most of your athletes, it's easier for them to continue to train and do drills and run and keep themselves in shape just because of the nature of their sport.
The distance runners especially, they can do a lot of their training, the various energy systems that we try to touch on. But as far as sprints and the jumps go, that's a little more challenging, obviously. I know Chris Johnson is improvising as best he possibly can with our post-collegiate group to try to keep them fit and focused and energized to the goal down the road.
And my last question for you, how much time are you spending at the ranch? Got some projects you're trying to knock out?
I've only been out there one day, but it is going to be occupying a lot of my time. And talk about a place of isolation. It's my wife and I, and so I don't have to worry about coming across anybody with this new bug. But yes, I'll be spending a lot of time out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Chip, do you have any questions? Okay. How about Hayden or Kyle in Little Rock?
Coach, you just touched on it, but what are you going to do to try to fill the time here? Are you going to be walking on a ceiling soon or what?
Well, that'll happen real quickly. Obviously in all the years that I've been coaching, and there are many obviously, I've never had this happen before. So I'm kind of, in my mind, it's almost like a premature retirement. I'm not going to handle that process well either. So my wife is trying to ground me, and that's been a difficult process, trying to escape the house periodically. But, I'll get through it and figure out ways to do it. The farm is probably a place that I can go out and stay mentally occupied, physically occupied. And then hopefully on my birthday, April 15th, the kids will be able to come back and the facilities will open back up. And hopefully this virus will run its course and move on to distinction, hopefully.
Bob, you had some more questions?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Lance, I didn't know you had a ranch or a farm or whatever. How long have you had that? And is that around, I guess it's around here. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, we have 10 acres in Goshen that overlooks the White River going into Beaver Lake. And so it's a real picturesque little place that we bought a few years ago. And with eventually the possibility of trying to eventually maybe live out there and have animals and so on and so forth. But, it just seems like we'll have to cross that bridge as we get closer to, wrapping up track and field.
If you got a place out there you can live there?
Yeah, we have a little house that my wife is quite an interior decorator, and I have a lot of capability of physical labor. So she's had me do different things, and between the two of us, it's very, very livable. And our kids use it a lot, just as a sanctuary, getting away from the town and a place to kind of hide out. It's got a pond so they can fish, and there's a lot of deer and wild animals zipping through, so that's kind of fun. And it's just big enough to occupy our time. It's only 10 acres, and it's a great place to hide out.
It sounds like a good place to ride out at pandemic. I mean, do you plan to go out?
Exactly.
I guess?
If things get real dramatic, yeah, we can go hide out there.
And then you said, what did you say? 5 of your kids are running to altitude. Who all doing that, and where?
Yeah, our distance kids that have made the trials or the trial standard have headed to, I believe they're in Colorado Springs, and they're going to be there, or they're away from school for a month, so they took their laptops and their studies and their running clothes, and just thought they'd get a little bit of an altitude benefit while they're up there.
So I guess that's Katie, Taylor. Who else?
Yeah, Katie didn't go. She stayed, but Taylor and Devin and Karina and Kennedy are all up there.
All right, last questions for Coach Harder. Anybody?
Lance, I just one more. The stuff with the
Sure.
scholarships being restored, do you think that's practical, or how do you see that working if indeed it happens?
Well, that'll be an interesting conversation at the NCAA level, and then I'm curious, will there be a vote? Because the Power 5 type conference schools, they probably can afford a 1-year adjustment, but coming from a school that doesn't have those types of resources, if it comes to a vote, traditionally there's the haves and the have-nots, and I would see the have-nots going, hey, we're already kind of at a disadvantage because we can't give the full allotment of scholarships in particular sports, and then all of a sudden you're allowing the haves to have even a few more. I could see reality hitting real quick that, why would we put ourselves even at a more of a distinct disadvantage? So, Hunter and his peers and the commissioner, Sankey and his peers, I guess they have to try to sort all that out.
All right. Thanks, Coach Harder.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lance.
Yeah, wash your hands.
Many times.